pine tree's dead. Huh. I don't know why. That one's dead too. I hope this one don't die, because somebody's stripped the bark and it's bleeding, but I don't think that's why the other ones died. Well, we could go sit over here and look off, but I want to go down. See the squirrels, they come up here and they eat these nuts. Those are pine, they're getting the pine nuts out of the pine cones. And they're just scattered all over the place down here. This is a huge squirrel home, huh? Lucky squirrels, huh? So, that's where I want to go. It's down there. Sit on that rock, and then we're going to go out. Let me see if I can see that rock we're going to sit on. Yeah, down there. We'll walk out there. And there's a neat little pathway to get down there. I did this the other day. Some of you may have not even seen it, because sometimes the videos are long and you might not have waited through the video long enough to see that. But I did, because I'm pretty sure some of you just watch first 10 minutes or something, and it's not exciting, you flip off. But most of the time my videos are more exciting at the end, towards the end. This is where we get the good stuff. So here's where we're gonna make our way down there. We're gonna go down there. Through there. Go down here. Now, we got to kind of climb down here, but we can do it. I had to climb down through there. So neat back in here. There's some pistachios, but I can't reach those over there. There's some green ones. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful, guys. Makes my heart go pitter-patter. Yeah, those yellow mushrooms, it's like many, almost over half of them that I find around here are Amanita. But they're not, I haven't found the muscara, Amanita muscara here, but that yellow one may very well be hallucinogenic or whatever you want to call that. I don't know. They say don't eat it, you know. Edibility. Don't eat it. It'll make you feel better. Actually, these amanitas, they don't necessarily make you feel better. What they do is they heal you, and sometimes it's a rough trip, but they're really not for recreation. They just make you sleep and dream, which can be good, but that's where we were up there. This is one of my favorite spots. I just love this, right by this big chestnut tree. I hear something down there. Yeah. What a beautiful, beautiful place. Oh. The craziest thing in the world to me, every time I see it, I just never get over it. That all of the food is just wasting away in the trees and the fruit and everything. It just falls to the ground and goes to seed. Nobody uses it except the squirrels. You know, I was telling you that sugar, we're not supposed to eat sugar at all. The only reason for sugar is that it puts on fat. And so bears, during the summer there's berries and things. The natural things, the only kind of natural plants that put forth offspring that are with fructose and stuff like that are usually like little berries and some fruits, but most of the, I don't know, if not all of them, the original natural fruit that grows on trees, if they had any sugar, it was real minimal. So it's not like the body can't use sugar. It can use it. And so bears and humans, when they're going to go in through the winter, they need to hibernate. They may not have very much food during the winter. So they gorge on, during the summer, on fruits that's sweet. And the body builds up fat. Well, then by spring, you burned all that fat off and you're skinny again. And in that case, it's healthy because you have to burn the fat off. But if you put fat on and you never hibernate, or you never fast and get rid of it, you just keep day in, day out eating sugar all winter long and all spring, and instead of going through famine and feast, you know, where we get fat for the winter, and then by spring we're thin again, instead of doing that, we just keep eating, get fatter and fatter, and the fat is a very big health problem. So sugar is only an emergency food for starvation. It's not something that normally we would eat, and especially when we're not hibernating and we're not working hard, exercising, we're living in the city, sedentary life. We shouldn't eat sugar at all. But if you do eat a little sugar, it's not going to hurt you. You can eat sugar, but you got to learn to burn it off. But the food that we're supposed to eat is nuts and beans, and so you know, I was answering somebody yesterday on that last video we did on health, and they were saying, what's the difference between simple carbs and complex carbs? Well, again, see how they do this? They use these big words like simple carbs, and like they have to say the word carb, like it's some sort of word we don't know what it means, and nobody to this day really knows what it means. You know, I don't even think doctors understand when they're saying simple carbs, and they're just perpetuating some kind of ignorance, because really all you should say is the simplest thing you should say is, you know, complex carb. All that means is you're eating a whole food. Now, it may have some sugar in it, like a banana or an apple, but it's also got fiber, and it also has all the minerals and vitamins and whatever oils and nutrients and protein and whatever else it has in there. And they all work together as a food. But like I said, there's very few kind of animals. There's few natural fruits except for hybrid fruit like bananas and apples and peaches. But in the wild, they don't grow that way. They go to seed. You know, if your apples and bananas don't get, you know, constantly cultivated and hybridized and you know, pruned and all the stuff that they do with them to make them hybrid, they'll go back to the original banana, which has all these seeds and it doesn't have as much salt, has very little sugar. And that's true of just, because see, the original peach is basically an almond. They're the same thing. But you can develop an almond into a peach, which is sweet, which is what people have done. But it's better to just eat the almond, which is mostly oils. That's why you can make milk out of almonds. But so a complex sugar, just not sugar at all. It's a fruit. A simple sugar is where they've extracted just the sugar itself, the white crystalline dope. It's chemical. It's all it is. It's not even a food. It's just a chemical. And like I said, you don't need sugar anyway. And to take it in that form, it's like taking straight heroin or something, and it's very addictive and it's very harmful to you. You should never eat sugar at all, ever. You say, yeah, but I like a little sugar in my cereal or my coffee. But, you know, you can... Honey is a whole food. Maple syrup is a whole food. It's not... so it's much better. It has vitamins and nutrients and iron and, you know, certain phytochemicals and other things in it that work together to process it so your body can absorb it. But like I said, you don't need a lot of sugar in anyway. Now, baby, from the time they're born till maybe a year old or two years old, they eat milk. And so we can get an idea what humans are supposed to eat by looking at what's in milk, because that's all a baby eats. Almost pretty much all mammalians drink some sort of milk, and they're all about the same thing. And they're only about 5% sugar in the milk. And they say it's about 10%, 8 to 10% fat. But I don't even know if that's true. I mean, they lie so much, because when you go and get raw milk, it's about half cream. Now, maybe the whole thing, all the cream on the top, isn't all necessarily technically fat, considered to be fat. But I would say it's the fat complex. It's the whole, 50% of the milk that the baby's drinking is just fat. And the rest of it is nutrients, and there's some protein and things like that. But remember, even if the baby is eating more sugar, because remember, the sugar feeds the brain, helps grow brain, but you definitely need the fatty acids for growing brain tissue and heart tissue and fatty tissues. But when a baby's born and they've got to grow like 10, 15 times faster than an adult, you don't even grow when you're an adult. So what does a baby eat to get from that little bitty baby building their entire body, have little bitty legs, little bitty arms, all that's got to be expanded and grown to about half their original size, or half their ultimate size by the time they're 2 or something. They eat mostly fat. And the sugar that they do get is lactose, not fructose. Fructose is not good for you. Lactose might be a lot better for you. But, so we can see then that if our Heavenly Father designed the world and the fruit thereof and the seed therein for our food, you can see just by looking at what the natural foods like nuts and seeds, beans, what do they have mostly in them? That's what we would need, because you're not supposed to supplement your food. You're supposed to eat natural food. And so there are various kinds of food, but beans are one thing. Nuts are another, but they still have a lot of oils. There's no sugar in that, very little. I don't know if there's any sugar. But your body can use fat and turn it into sugar. So you do have to have some sugar, but it's only the kind of sugar that your body uses, that it breaks down fat, turns it into sugar for energy. But for the most part, your body can use fat. So it's burning in a different way. It's kind of like the difference between you can have an oil lamp or a gas lamp. An oil lamp burns slow, has to go through a longer process, and it's not, it doesn't ignite it doesn't burn as hot. So sugar is turned into alcohol first, and it takes a lot more processes to get it to where you can use it. You can just burn oil the way it is, but sugar has to be, it has to be processed into alcohol, and then it burns as energy. And so it's a longer process, and it burns much hotter, and I believe that it'll age you much faster. So I think that's why these people, people are talking about the keto diet and stuff. We need to get our body back to where it's burning fat and not... and how do you do that? By fasting. During the winter, you don't have any food, and you got all this fat stored around your belly, so it starts burning the fat. And then that's healthy. That's healthy for you, the way we were designed. But another reason, this is another thing. There's this one doctor out there, these constant... I shouldn't say I hate him. Forgive me, Lord. I don't hate him, but I disagree with him very much, and he's annoying. I don't like him because he's lying to people so much and causing people a great deal of suffering and pain just to make money. For a while, he started off, he was talking about, don't eat tomatoes, they'll kill you, and don't eat beans. Oh, they're terrible. They got lectins in them. This is the epitome of ignorance, when these people run around talking as if they know something, when they're literally dumber than rocks. But beans are one of the healthiest food you can possibly eat, because out of the things that we talked about, the seeds, the nuts, and the beans, I think the beans are actually the healthiest. They get the I think pretty much the most fiber. Your body can handle process all the nutrients better with that soluble fiber. But one of the things is that beans have the most potassium of any of the other foods. more than nuts. Nuts have a lot of potassium. But just take a minute and think about this. According to the FDA, we need 4,700 milligrams of potassium every day. And they claim we need 2,500 milligrams of salt. Or I should say sodium. And we need, like, I don't know, like 100 milligrams of magnesium or 200. I don't remember exactly. But, so they're admitting that potassium is way, way up there. I mean, phosphorus and sulfur both are in the 2,000-3,000s. So those are the number, the top 7 is potassium, sulfur, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, zinc, and selenium, I think. And people aren't getting enough selenium because they're not drinking water. That's where you get these minerals. The most bioavailable, actually you can't even process minerals very well from food. Almost can't process them. You need water, mineral water, to get minerals. And they've figured it out so that nobody's getting any minerals because nobody's drinking any water. All the water departments in every town, city across the world has been taken over by some government entity, and they put poison in it, so we can't drink it. So we go to the store and we buy it from Mr. What is he, Hershey's, that owns all the water companies. He owns all the water and all the wells. He's buying up all the water sources. He even owns the water source up there in Flint, Michigan. And then there is proof that he conspired with other people to poison their water so that they'd end up having to go and buy from him. But it's a big conspiracy. But the water that they give you is distilled, and they made people believe that, oh, it's pure water because we've distilled it. We purified it. What does that mean? It means that they've done something to it. Like they tell you that milk is pasteurized, it's good for you now. No, raw milk's good for you. Pure spring water, which has the minerals. But they take all the hard minerals. They say, oh, you got hard water. You got to get that out of there. We have to have potassium and sodium chloride a little. Not very much. Not just what comes in nature. Like most foods don't have a lot of sodium. But we do need a balance of that with the potassium. It's like a pump. And all the minerals are like that. I mean, they all follow in a pathway, and then you need all of them in certain balance. So if we're not getting potassium at all in the water, and various other few minerals, and we're getting fluoride and things like this that take it out of our system, and then they tell us and then we don't get any soluble fiber, and we're just drinking gallons and gallons of this poison water, that is what's killing us. But if you were to try and go find somewhere you can get enough potassium in your diet, because Americans 100% don't have enough potassium. So if you're going to try and figure out where you would go to get enough potassium, you wouldn't be able to really get quite enough from, from bottled water unless you live somewhere where you've got a beautiful deep well and you've got good, clean, pure water that's mineral water. You're going to have a hard time getting your minerals. But the best source is really beans. But now a lot of people can't digest beans, and they say, oh, I just can't digest beans. I can't digest milk. I can't digest vegetables, Dave. Well, then you need to start over like a baby. When a baby's born, it can't digest any of that either. All they can digest is milk. So you may have to fast for a little while, rest your body, start drinking whole, raw milk, and then start adding oatmeal. You can add oatmeal into a baby's diet when, less than a year. And then the oatmeal is soluble fiber so that they can start building up the bacteria in their gut and getting ready to start digesting heavier foods. You can start introducing bananas, and down the road a baby can eat beans, but not right away. Same with humans. We got to start by building and healing your gut. And you can't heal your gut if you're not putting some soluble fiber like oatmeal and drinking, food, having some kind of food that's complete, like milk, and then moving up to oatmeal, and then, other fruits and stuff like this. But you've got to get your gut to where it's healthy. And so One thing you can do is take collagen or gelatin. You can buy it at the store like Jello, but just don't get the sugar. Just, you know, add some orange juice to it or something, make your own Jello that way. Or just take a spoonful of gelatin and stir it up in a milkshake or whatever and drink it. And do that every day, and that'll help rebuild your gut. You can take beets. They have a lot of potassium. Even carrots, and make beet carrot juice. You can add celery juice, but you know, beets is good by itself. Just make juice the beets and drink a cup of or glass of beet juice every day. That has a lot of potassium. But don't just drink it by itself. Make sure you have some soluble fiber with it, because you know, the beets themselves, a lot of people wouldn't be able to digest the roots. We're not supposed to really eat the roots. I'm only saying use it as a medicine. You can boil the beets or you can juice them to get the nutrients out of them, but you get more nutrients raw. So just juice it and drink it as a medicine. We're not going to live on beets. We're not supposed to live on roots and leaves. But we are building potassium levels, and it has a good balance of potassium and sodium and you know, calcium and magnesium and zinc and all the stuff in there. Coconut water, coconut oil, all of that's good. Coconut water has a lot of potassium. Coffee has potassium, but it also has caffeine, and it also dries you out a little bit. But it has a lot of potassium, so I wouldn't worry about drinking coffee, as long as you don't completely overdo it. But you've got to get potassium somehow. Beet juice is one way. Spirulina has it. Eggs has potassium. Eggs are a perfect food. If you want a balanced diet, eat 3 or 4 eggs every day. And go get you some chickens and let them, you know, let them free range and feed them, you know, let them go out and eat the ticks and the bugs and scrounge around and peck on the ground. And those kind of chickens produce eggs that are 100 times more nutritious than the ones at the store. The cholesterol is perfect. The protein is perfect. All the nutrients, has vitamin A, vitamin E. It has all the potassium and zinc and all the things you need. The sulfur, which you need a lot of sulfur. And people are concentrating on not having enough potassium, and a lot of people aren't getting enough sulfur. We're not getting enough potassium, sulfur, phosphorus, and the calcium that we get a lot of calcium. But the calcium that we end up getting is, when it's by itself, actually is more damaging. So that's why we were talking the other day about, and they're doing this on purpose, it's obvious, but we're talking about multivitamins. The government has come out, I don't know when they did this, I don't remember this some time ago, it must be recent, but the government has made it against the law now to put more than 100 milligrams of potassium in any of their, so if you go buy potassium at the store, you want to supplement your food with potassium, and you go to the store and you buy potassium, and it only has 99 milligrams in it. And that's not enough to do anything. Don't even buy it. Forget it. And don't get a multivitamin, because they're not going to have any potassium. And so if you eat the rest of the vitamins and minerals without the potassium, and without the sulfur, and without the phosphorus, you'll notice that all those good stuff, they only have very little in there. Very little magnesium. Those are the ones you really need. The trace minerals, you can get that. Just eat spirulina. Basically, it's got everything you need. Or a glass of beet juice. Or just eat your eggs every day. Or whatever. But you've got to get potassium either from beans. If you've got a healthy gut and you can digest beans, then eat lima beans, navy beans, garbanzo. Every kind of bean, just eat them every day. Brown rice, way different than white rice. White rice is very digestible, but it doesn't have as much fiber. Not nearly enough fiber. It's got a little fiber, you know, it's enough. So if you can't digest brown rice, you can eat white rice. But if you get your gut to where it's healthy and you can digest brown rice and beans, then you're healthy. That's how you know if you're healthy. So there's so many people running around in the world today that don't have enough potassium, and they're dying and they don't even know it. And that's the real main cause of all the problems, is that we're not getting the fiber and the potassium and the minerals. So pistachios and nuts also have a lot of potassium, but I think that beans have more But nuts and beans, you can see, that's how you know that that's something we're supposed to eat. And it's also how you know that we need potassium, because there's lots of potassium in actual food. Any food that you could really call a food has got to have a lot of potassium. Like 5 times more potassium than the other, like more than calcium, and more than, you know, like the magnesium would be about, I don't remember, it's 100 or 300 milligrams. Zinc is probably like 50, 60 or 100 milligrams. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember now. But once you get up to calcium, they say you may need a couple thousand. I'm not sure the exact number. Sulfur and phosphorus are up in the 2,000 and 3,000s, I think. And then finally you get all the way up to potassium, where you need 4,700 milligrams. And that's just what they're saying. But I really think it's pretty accurate, because if you look at nature, nature doesn't have, in food, it doesn't have an extreme amount of, it's not like 90% of the fruit and nuts and beans are made out of potassium. It's only, they go by like 1 cup, right? And so 1 cup has like 800, 900 milligrams. So basically 1 cup of beans, right? So basically if you ate like 3 or 4 cups of beans, you had all the potassium you need. In balanced, though, balanced with your calcium and magnesium and all the other stuff that's present in all these real foods. But now if you don't eat beans, and because you can't eat beans, and you don't eat grains because you can't eat grain, and you don't eat nuts because people just don't eat nuts anymore, then what are you eating? McDonald's, they put MSG in there, which will kill your liver. Immediately, do not eat MSG. And if you don't know if it's in there, you can just guess it is. Anything canned, boxed, or fast food has got this poison in there, and they do it on purpose. They also make it all out of hydrogenated oil, which will ruin your liver. Once your liver's ruined, you're going to have a hard time healing your body. And so the water doesn't have the minerals. So hydrogenated fats, stay away from them. Sugar, stay away from it. All these chemicals and preservatives, stay away from it. It's not just something you need to try and avoid. But it's, you know, lots of these sugars that they claim, they're alternative sugar. Don't eat any of that. I'd rather you just go ahead and eat sugar. But just eat molasses or something if you've got to have something like sugar. Or maple syrup or honey. But, yeah. So beautiful up here, isn't it? Well, I think we'll go back now. I hear somebody talking down there. But that gives you an idea how much potassium and calcium and sulfur and all this stuff we need. Just look at how much comes in beans. Look at the amounts you find in nuts, seeds, grains, and that's how much you need. So basically you should eat those foods. Eggs, milk. Don't be afraid to drink milk. Grown-ups should take milk and make cheese and buttermilk and butter, and all of these things are very good for you. You can use olive oil, of course. I think olive oil is mostly for your skin. It mimics your skin oil. It's healthy for your skin. But that collagen is going to make you young. It's going to take, if you do it every day, a tablespoon of collagen or gelatin, mix it up and drink it. Your hair will get full and thick. It could regrow your hair, your nails. Your skin will get glowing, and the wrinkles will go away, and your scars will go away, and everything. It'll heal your gut. It's good for leaky gut. Best thing in the world for leaky gut is soluble fiber, collagen, or gelatin, and mineral water, and you'll be fine soon. You'll be healed soon. It will work. I promise you, I guarantee, if you eat food, you'll be wealthy. Well, you're probably wealthy too, and healthy very soon. Don't let these liars lie to you, make you scared and afraid, and make you think you've got to go to a doctor to have good health. The doctors are they're ignorant. They don't know what they're doing. Like these doctors telling us we're not supposed to eat beans. Don't eat eggs, and don't eat butter, and don't eat beans. Oh, but you know, they make mistakes. You know, it's like the Watchtower Bible and Tract Study. Oh, they're false prophets all the time for 200 years, but all of a sudden now, you know, they're the only true organization, right? Straight from the Lord, right? Even though they lie, and I don't know. I don't know why people believe these liars and just trust the divine providence that we have. You can trust nature, friends. You can trust Mother Nature. The Divine Mother she knows everything you need. Just trust her. That's what Jesus told us to do. He says, she'll teach you everything you need to know. And at the moment you need to know it, she'll put it in your path. You'll be hungry and you'll look around and there'll be a butterfly and you'll follow the butterfly because it's beautiful. It'll lead you right to a beautiful flower, and under the flower you'll find the fruit. Trust the fruit. And like I said, even mushrooms, something they've told us, you can always tell. See, that's how you know potassium is so important. They know how important potassium is. They understand that so clearly that they have made it illegal for you to get potassium. And the only way you're going to be able to get potassium now is to find somebody's got some well water, go out to a creek, and they tell you, oh, don't drink the creek water. Or if you can go out and get some nuts in nature, eat your beans every day, which most of you can't even digest beans anymore, so you're done. You're done. Where are you going to get your potassium? You're going to die without it. Well, I'll go get a supplement. They won't even let you buy it as a supplement anymore because they know if you can get that in your system, it would heal you. And that's why they don't put it there. And that's why they made it virtually illegal to grow your own cannabis or let it. You know, cannabis used to grow in nature, but the government went through and they hired people going around, and where they'd find it, they'd kill it. They've just about gotten rid of all the cannabis that's naturally growing in the United States. That tells you how important cannabis oils and CBD oil and all this stuff is for our body. We have cannabinoid receptors, but somehow or another we're not supposed to eat cannabinoids or opioids or, you know, mushrooms. See, they make it completely illegal. And if you look it up, we're like, well, don't eat that. You know, we don't know about that one. Don't eat. It's probably inedible. It's poison. Well, that's a surefire way to know what you're supposed to eat. Mushrooms grow everywhere. They got lots of potassium. They have protein. They have lots of protein. They have all of your, you know, vitamins and nutrients. It's just, mushrooms are a powerhouse. And you don't have to go and get, you know, wild mushrooms necessarily. You can go to the store and just portobello or regular mushrooms are healthy for you. You know, a cup of mushrooms has, I think, something like, I don't remember exactly, but 400 or 500 milligrams of potassium. And bananas only have about 400. One medium-sized banana, about 400 milligrams of potassium. And by the way, if you're going to eat bananas, they're very healthy for you if you eat them before they start getting brown. Don't eat them brown. Eat them slightly green. And then they will not, your body won't have to process all the carbs. Something about bananas when they're green, your body can't process the carbs, so it just goes right through and acts more as a fiber rather than anything else. So bananas are really good because they got lots of fiber, lots of minerals and stuff like this, and they have potassium, so they're a good food. Potatoes with the skin, but again, a lot of people can't process potatoes or eat them because their guts are ruined. So to build up your gut, go get some oatmeal, drink milk, butter, mineral waters, get some gelatin or some collagen. Collagen is the kind that, they got this thing collagen peptide or whatever. The peptides are so important to digestion. They're manufactured in some way where they have smaller molecules than the regular gelatin, so it might be healthier to get the collagen. But if you have a fairly decent digestive system, all you need is gelatin. A tablespoonful of gelatin, mix it up, and eat Jello every day or whatever. It's good for your nails and everything. I'm going to go ahead and go, guys. Take another look around here and see how beautiful this place is. Wow. I'm just so amazed at how beautiful this is. Let's go back up. Ah, such a beautiful place. I could just spend the whole day here. But I got the puppies at the house, and you know, they're getting big enough they might wander out in the street or something there on the porch. They're not that big yet. I'm not worried about that, but you know, I still want to get home because if they're running around the yard, I'm afraid they start wandering off the porch or something. Somebody could come along and take one or something, and I don't mind, you know, if they took one, but not the one you know, they probably end up taking the one I want or something. I'm kind of rethinking the whole puppy thing. I'm thinking maybe I'll keep more than just 2, because I am going to New Mexico. I'm going to need some dogs, you know, for protection out there, and watchdogs, you know, and they're good. I'm going to get a goat when I get out there, and some chickens for sure, first thing. Alright guys, I'm going to turn this camera off as I go through here, because I got to kind of climb. It's hard to do it with one hand. Alright, see you in a little bit. Okay, got out of there. Well, I'm going to grab my pistachios and head back home. Get this uploaded. Where'd they go? Here they are. See you back at the car.